Joao's dream. Su Joao always dreamed of having a vegetable garden that would make money. I lived in a simple neighborhood on the outskirts of Sao Paulo, on a small piece of land, but full of sun. Every day, after work as a porter, he would look at that piece of land and think, if I plant something that sells easily, I can help around the house. One day, her neighbor, Dona Maria, a smart lady who sold spices at the market, stopped to talk. Joao, you're always there messing around in the dirt. Have you ever thought about planting something that makes a quick profit? Ah, Dona Maria, I would like to, but I don't know what to plant. It has to be easy, right? I don't have time for complicated things. Of course. There are a lot of things that grow quickly and sell well. I plant basil and sweet pepper myself. I sell everything at the fair and still have leftovers for the house. Su Joao scratched his head. But is it really possible to make money? Check it out. Dona Maria took an old notebook from her pocket. I wrote down 20 plants here that anyone can grow. There are things that don't even need a lot of space. Mr. Joao's eyes widened. 20. Show me. Dona Maria opened the notebook and began to read. 1. Lettuce. Grows in 30 days. Sells easily. 2. Arugula. Same thing, but spicier. People love it. 3. Kale. Lasts months. Yields a lot. 4. Chives. Everyone uses them. They sell quickly. 5. Parsley. Same as chives. It just changes the flavor. 6. Basil. Makes sauce. Seasons food. Sells well. 7. Mint. Used in tea, medicine, juice. 8. Pepper. There are people who pay a lot for fresh pepper. 9. Cherry tomatoes. Sweet. Beautiful. Sold in bags. 10. Carrot. If the soil is good, it grows easily. 11. Beetroot. Use it in salads, in juice, even in cakes. 12. Zucchini. Grows quickly. Sells well at the market. 13. Cucumber. Make salad, preserve it, sell it directly. 14. Spinach. Rich in iron. Many people look for it. 15. Cilantro. People who cook Bahrain and Mexican food love it. 16. Swiss chard. Looks like kale, but softer. 17. Redite. Grows in 25 days. Sells quickly. 18. Strawberries. If you plant them in a pot, you can even grow them in an apartment. 19. Lemongrass. Used in tea, a natural repellent. 20. Sunflower. The seeds sell well, and the flowers are decorative. Mr. Joao was impressed. Wow, Dona Maria. And I thought you could only grow lettuce and kale. So it is. There are a lot of good things. I started with just 3 spices and today I live off that. Su Joao took a deep breath. And how do I start? First, choose 2 or 3 things you like. Then, arrange seeds or seedlings. And it's planting little by little. But what if it doesn't work? Joao, a plant is not a machine. Sometimes it goes wrong, but you just have to try again. I've already lost basil plants to caterpillars, but today I have so much that I even sell them to restaurants. Mr. Joao smiled. Okay then. I'll start with chives and basil. It's easy, right? And yes. And if you need help, just shout. I help you. The first step over the weekend, Su Joao went to the gardening store close to home. He bought chive seeds, basil, and some lettuce seedlings. When he arrived, Dona Maria was already waiting with a bucket of manure. I brought good fertilizer, Joao. Plants need food, just like us. Thank you, Dona Maria. But how do I plant it? Check it out. She picked up a small shovel. First, move the earth, remove the stones. Then, make some holes, add the seeds and cover them with soil. Water every day, but do not soak. Mr. Joao followed the instructions. He planted the seeds in neat rows and watered carefully. And now it's time to wait. In a week, you will see the seedlings coming out. The first sale 2 weeks later, the plants were already big. Su Joao picked a bunch of chives and took them to the fair, together with Dona Maria. Joao, you have to show that you are fresh. Smell it here, she said, passing a bunch of chives near his nose. Wow, what a strong smell. That's what people like. Speak loudly. Fresh chives, straight from the garden. Mr. Joao, shy, started shouting, fresh chives. Who will take it? A woman stopped. How much is it? 2 reais a pack. Give me 2, please. Su Joao almost jumped with joy. It's already sold. Dona Maria, I sold it. I told you. Now just continue. At the end of the day, he had sold 5 bunches of chives and 2 bunches of basil. He kept the money in his pocket, all proud. Growing the business over time, Su Joao started planting more things. He bought pots for strawberries, made a trellis for cucumbers, and even planted peppers in a corner. Dona Maria always gave tips. Joao, put some flowers among the vegetables. They attract bees and ward off pests. Serious? Of course. Sunflowers, for example, besides being beautiful, produce seeds to sell. One day, a restaurant owner passed by the fair and liked the basil. Do you only sell at the fair? For now, yes. I'll buy everything you have. I need it to make pesto sauce. Mr. Joao didn't believe it. All? How much do you want? About 10 packs a week. He almost fell backwards. 10 packs? I have. From then on, Su Joao started selling to the restaurant and still had surplus for the fair. With the money, he bought more land, seeds, and even a small greenhouse to protect the plants from heavy rain. The dream come true 6 months later. Su Joao was no longer just a doorman. He had a vegetable garden that made real money. He bought a bicycle with a basket to carry the vegetables and even hired a helper, Dona Maria's grandson. One day, he invited his neighbor for coffee. Dona Maria, I don't know how to thank you. If it weren't for you, I would still be just dreaming. Ah, Joao, I only showed you the way. The work was all yours. But now I can help my daughter with college and there's still money left for me. That's what's important. And look, there's still a lot to plant. Have you ever thought about medicinal herbs? Chamomile, rosemary, Dona Maria, you never stop, right? Not even. Plants are the same as life. The more we take care of them, the more they bear fruit. Su Joao laughed. Then let's plant more. And so, between laughter and advice, Su Joao discovered that the secret was not just to plant, but to start. With patience, work, and a little help from friends, any little piece of land could be turned into a successful business. Su Joao looked at the yard, now full of vegetables and spices. The sun hit the green leaves, and the smell of wet earth filled the air. Dona Maria, do you think I can sell this at the fair? Of course. People love fresh, poison-free things. And look, if you give them some seedlings as a gift, they'll come back to buy more. Good idea. I'm going to make some bags with rosemary and basil. Who knows, maybe I'll even teach you how to plant. That's right. And don't forget to set a fair price. No wanting to get rich all at once. Ah, Dona Maria, I just want to live well. It's already too good. The following Saturday, Su Joao arrived early at the market. He set up a simple tent, with a checkered cloth and a sign, Horta do Joao, fresh and poison-free. People stopped, smelled the herbs and smiled. Mr. Joao, is this really organic? Believe me, lady. I planted it with my hands and some chicken manure. And how much does that bunch of cabbage cost? 3 reais. And if you take 3, I'll give you a head of lettuce as a gift. The first client was Dona Lourdes, who lived nearby. Joao, you look like a businessman. Nothing businessman, Dona Lourdes. Just a man who learned to work the land. Well, I'm going to take it all here. My granddaughter loves vegetable soup. At the end of the day, Su Joao counted the money. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to pay the bills and still save a little. He returned home tired, but happy. So, how was it? Asked Dona Maria, already waiting at the door. I sold almost everything. And I even made some new friends. I knew. Now just don't get discouraged. A fair is like this. One day it sells more, another day it sells less. But I like it. I like to see people happy with what I planted. That's what matters, Joao. Money is good, but seeing the fruits of your labor is even better. That night, Su Joao sat in the backyard with a glass of lemonade. He looked at the stars and thought, who knew that a piece of land would change my life? And so, between planting and selling, he discovered that the real treasure was not money, but rather the joy of seeing things grow. Both plants and people. Su Joao woke up early the next day, as always. The sun hadn't even come up yet, but he already had his hands on the ground. Dona Maria walked through the kitchen door with a mug of steaming coffee. Are you in a hurry today? She asked, laughing. I need to prepare more seedlings. Those people at the market asked for more lettuce and cabbage. And you'll be able to handle it? Of course, he replied, wiping his forehead with his shirt sleeve. I've even set aside a section of the yard just for this. Dona Maria shook her head, smiling. She knew that when her husband got an idea in his head, there was no one to take it away. And she liked that. That week, Su Joao didn't stop. Planted, watered, cared for. Even his grandson, Pedrinho, helped. The 8-year-old boy loved messing around in the dirt, even if he ended up getting all his clothes dirty. Grandpa, why does the plant need water? Asked Pedrinho, holding the watering can. To grow strong, like you. If you don't drink water, you get weak. I'm not weak. The boy laughed, throwing water everywhere. Su Joao laughed along. It was good to have family around. And even better was seeing that they liked it too. At the following fair, things were even better. People already knew Su Joao and his products. One lady even brought a bouquet of flowers that he had planted by chance. These flowers are beautiful, she said, sniffing. Do you sell? No, they were just to decorate the flower bed. Well, now they're for sale, she insisted, putting money in his hand. I'll take them all. Joao was surprised. I had never thought about selling flowers. But if people wanted it, why not? At the end of the day, he returned home with a fuller wallet and an idea in his head. Dona Maria was already waiting, as always. So, did you sell everything again? Almost. But look, he showed the extra money. People like the flowers. Flowers? She opened her eyes wide. Didn't you just grow food? Now I plant both. Who knows, maybe it could become a business. Dona Maria smiled. Su Joao was always inventing fashion. But she didn't complain. After all, it was good to see her husband so excited. That night, he sat in the yard again, but this time with a notebook in his hand. He started doing math, writing down ideas. I wanted to expand. Maybe even hire someone to help. What if I plant more things? He muttered to himself. Tomato, carrot, okra. Dona Maria appeared with more lemonade. Thinking out loud again? Just dreaming. But dreams sometimes come true, right? Yes, they did. As long as you don't forget to sleep every now and then. Su Joao laughed. She was always right. But he couldn't stop thinking. The land gave so much, and he wanted to give more back. The next day, I was back to work. And this time, with a plan. Su Joao woke up before the sun rose. He took the hoe and the straw hat and went straight to the flower bed. Dona Maria was already in the kitchen, making coffee. What are you going to plant today? She asked, placing a steaming cup on the table. I'm going to test some tomato seedlings. And that okra that Zie from the store said sells easily. Dona Maria shook her head, but smiled. I knew there was no point in arguing. Su Joao was as stubborn as a mule when it came to land. At the end of the morning, the sun was already burning. Su Joao wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked at the yard. He had planted 6 tomato seedlings, some carrot seeds and even a pepper plant that he got from his neighbor. Will it work? He murmured. Then, the youngest son, Pedrinho, appeared running. Dad, are you really growing food to sell? Yes, I am, son. Why? Because I want to help. Can I water the plants? Su Joao laughed and handed the watering can to the boy. Of course. But it has to be every day, you know? Pedrinho nodded, completely serious. Dona Maria appeared at the kitchen door, drying her hands on her apron. Look, the business is already growing even before the plants. Su Joao laughed. It was true. And he hadn't even started properly. The other day, he went to the city fair. I wanted to see how others sold. He kept an eye on the prices and the busiest stalls. A man with a white mustache sold okra for 2 reais per kilo. How do you manage to sell so much? He asked. Plant with care, boy. And it doesn't fill with poison. People like good things. Mr. Joao wrote everything down in his notebook. On the way home, I was already thinking about how I was going to organize the sale. Maybe a stall at the fair. Or even deliver to customers' doors. He arrived home and found Dona Maria separating some eggs. Did you buy more chickens? He asked. No. These are for sale too. The neighbor said it pays well. Sujoao scratched his head. So now we have an egg and vegetable business? Why not? She replied, laughing. We have space, we have time. And if it works, even Pedrinho is already in the game. Sujoao looked at the yard, full of new flower beds. Then to Dona Maria, with eggs in hand. And smiled. It's true. Let's see how far this goes. And so, without rushing, but without stopping, the business grew. One day at a time. Sujoao woke up early the next day. The sun hadn't even come up yet, but he was already up. He took the notebook and wrote down another idea. Watermelon. Everyone likes it in the heat. Dona Maria passed through the kitchen with a basket of clothes to wash. Are you already planning anything else? She asked, shaking her head. I'm just seeing what I can do, he replied, putting the notebook in his pocket. Watermelons grow quickly. If you plant now, you will have fruit in 3 months. And where are you going to plant it? The yard is already full. That bit near the wall. It still fits. Dona Maria sighed, but smiled. It's okay. But if you fill it up too much, then don't complain that there's nowhere to step. That afternoon, Pedrinho arrived from school with a bag of seeds. Dad, look what I got, he said, all excited. The professor said that these are good for planting in pots. Sujoao took the bag and read, Basil. What is this for? To season food. Pedrinho explained. The teacher said it sells well at the fair. And it grows fast. Dona Maria took the bag and smelled it. Fragrant. Let's plant some pots in the kitchen window. Sujoao scratched his beard. So now we are going to sell seasoning too? Pedrinho laughed. Yeah, Dad. And if it works, we buy more seeds. At the weekend, the whole family got together in the backyard. Mr. João dug the holes for the watermelon. Dona Maria filled the pots with soil. Pedrinho watered everything carefully. What if it doesn't sell? Sujoao asked, a little suspicious. Then we ate, Dona Maria replied, laughing. You won't miss anything. Pedrinho took the hose and wet the plants. What if I sell everything? Sujoao looked at the backyard, now even more crowded. Then we plant more. Pedrinho jumped with joy. That's it, Dad. Let's fill the yard with food and money. Dona Maria dried her hands on her apron. Calm down, son. First we see how it grows. That night, Pedrinho couldn't sleep. He looked out the window. The little stars twinkled in the sky. He imagined the plants as large, full of leaves and fruits. Has the mint already sprouted? He whispered. The next day, he ran to the kitchen before the sun rose. Dona Maria was already there, drinking coffee. Mom, look. Pedrinho pointed to the vase. A little green leaf appeared on the ground. Just look. Dona Maria smiled. Already born. Mr. João came in yawning. What was born? The mint, Dad. Pedrinho almost shouted. Sujoao approached and poked the leaf with his finger. Still tiny. But it will grow, Pedrinho said, excitedly. Dona Maria served coffee. Today after school, we see the other seedlings. Pedrinho nodded. He grabbed his backpack and ran out. Don't forget to water. Dona Maria shouted. It can leave. At school, Pedrinho barely paid attention in class. I only thought about the plants. When the teacher asked about the lesson, he stuttered. Mint. Watermelon. The class laughed. The teacher smiled. Is anyone here planting too? I. Pedrinho raised his hand. My family is planting a lot of things. Great. The teacher said. Then tell me how it's going. At recess, Pedrinho told his friends. We are going to sell it at the fair. What if it doesn't sell? Lucas asked. We eat. Pedrinho laughed. I want a watermelon, said Anna. When you grow up, I'll give you one. After class, Pedrinho ran home. The yard was different. The watermelon seedlings already had larger leaves. The mint pots were full of little green shoots. Mother. Father. Just look. Dona Maria appeared at the door. You've grown up a lot, haven't you? And the chives? Pedrinho asked. It hasn't appeared yet. But we wait. Sujoao came out of the shed with a hoe. Today we are going to plant more coriander. Cool. Pedrinho took a small watering can. I water. Dona Maria looked at the sky. It looks like it's going to rain. Even better, Sujoa said. The earth gets wet. Pedrinho filled the watering can and carefully watered each plant. Can we sell everything? I don't know, Mr. Joao replied. But we try. Dona Maria took out a notebook. Let's write everything down. What you planted, when you watered it, how much you spent. For what? Pedrinho asked. To find out if it's making a profit. Pedrinho smiled. Then we become entrepreneurs. Sujoa laughed. Backyard businessmen. And so, the family continued planting. Every day, after school, Pedrinho ran to see the plants. Sometimes I helped with watering. Others, I just watched. It will grow, he whispered to the seedlings. And they grew. Slowly, but they grew.